Hey everyone, welcome back to another
Hi.
episode of the DJ Sessions Presents the Virtual Sessions. I'm your host, Darren, and right now I'm sitting in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington, and coming in all the way from, I believe, Jens, you said you're in Cologne. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm in Cologne since 10 days.
Yeah.
Just returned from my with my wife. We have our residency in Ibiza now, and so we stayed there from since January, and we just returned 10 days ago because it was a marriage of my sister, no, of my daughter. My daughter married.
Awesome. I saw that on your Instagram. I wanted to talk to you about that. Give me a few seconds. Got a fire engine going by right now.
Yes, I heard this.
Even though I'm
It's
16
nice.
stories up, they use our thoroughfare and drive right by here all the time. Living in the city, but I live next to the hospitals in a nice area of downtown Seattle. But sometimes it happens. So I like to mute the mic, but hey, it's going by. Hopefully it's still not in the
Yeah.
show. They're not coming for me. So that's a good thing. But you have been in the industry for 30 years. Now, you're moving to Ibiza. So I say Ibiza. I learned how to say it when I was over there last year, but most people say Ibiza. How do you pronounce it?
Uh, you can say it. The English people they say Ibiza, and but everybody's saying Ibiza. It's
Yeah.
Ibiza with a z, like the Z of Ibiza. It's spelled z, Ibiza.
Yeah, and I had almost the opportunity, as I was explaining a little bit pre-show last year when I was over in Berlin for Rave the Planet with Riverside Studios. I was this close to going there. I've never been there yet, but I'm planning to go there next year, maybe a couple times.
You
It's gonna be,
should.
yeah, it looks phenomenal, it looks awesome. But
The
it was a
Magic
plane
Island.
ticket home. Although if I had more time, I probably could have just arranged another puddle jumper back to Bergen or back to is it Bergen's the airport there, right? What's the name of the airport in Berlin? Why am I?
Berlin is Berlin. Berlin is called the Berlin airport is
What's the Berlin airport called?
no, it's a, for the it's like
Oh
the
my
last
gosh!
one of our last chancellor. I don't know what.
Yeah,
Forgot the name.
I can't remember. It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out online. There's the internet out there. Go find. But I probably could have just flown back to Berlin and flown
It's
home.
called Willy Brandt Airport, I think.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, looking to do some world travel here coming up in the next year, so we'll make it there. Come down and see you there; it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about my travels and outgoing and outward bound stuff from the United States. I'm here to talk about you and what you got going on. You just released something August 29th, I believe. I Am A Pokin. Did I say
Mhm.
that right?
Yes, I'm a broken.
I Am A Pokin. Tell us all about that track and what that's all about.
This track is about, it's a techno track, a fast peak time track. It's not like these peak time techno tracks which are around now 130, 135 BPM. It's 145 BPM. It has some classic acid vocal inside, at least from Acid Pokin. Acid are poking, acid are poking, and it has a Hoover sound in the break, like wow, and it's and all these some little house chops of 100% dissing you. I'm gonna diss you right now, and of course, strong bass what techno needs, and and this break, which is similar to one of my it's released gonna it was first on my label, and but it was from the for the original label called Noom Records. Noom Records is a label all of the 90s from techno labels, and it was managed by a friend and who died, Commander Tom, and he had a track also out with his with the same Hoover style of sound in the break, and which is this is like a dedication and on his label.
I mean, looking through the years, it's funny. You mentioned dedication. It's kind of how the DJ sessions was born out of something that went away. It was a channel that was here out of Seattle called Groove Tech, and they would bring DJs in at a record store and do that. And when I saw that, I think what I'm trying to get at here is it's important to remember the history, the roots of people you've worked with, things that have happened in the past, and carry that forward. Remembering the good times that people have shared through music, not just electronic music, and keep the
Mm.
spirit alive.
Yes.
You know, you being in the industry for 30 plus years, me being in the night
45.
45, 45, 45 or
Yeah,
35,
45 years,
45
45
years, you
as a
know,
DJ, yeah.
you've seen a lot come through, especially, you know, with you know, obviously the culture moving from turntables and vinyl to digital, and the barrier of entry coming down or coming to almost zero for DJs now. To I can go to the store, pick up some decks, and learn how to DJ through YouTube videos, and I can get access to albums and records so quickly where, you know, you're not having to press the vinyl and maybe make 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 copies if you had the money for it to
Mhm.
distribute those worldwide, you know, and get them out there. Even from the label management side of things, you know, I'm sure you've seen all the changes. You've been there.
I
You've
saw
seen
everything
everything happening.
from the peak. You know, when I was a little boy, 15 years old, I discovered disco music. You know, and it was in 1979, and you know, I mentioned it maybe in our other story already, but I'm not tired to tell the story, you know, to people, to listeners, because this is my history. So when I was 15 years old, we had a club here in where I was born in Hamburg, Germany. It was like the Studio 54, and it was built from a design circuit company from New York City. They built the light show and the interior around in this club. They had a Richard Long sound system, and when they opened in December in 1978, I was not there, but I came there in the summer of 1979, and I saw the first time of my life I saw a DJ mixing. It was a US DJ. His name was David Bigoon. It was not a famous DJ from the States, but you know, uh, the when the club opened and in December of '78, they had a girl called Sharon Lee. Sharon Lee was she was famous for because she was out of New York City and played there some shows, whatever. I don't know where she what her history, but the thing is was she and then the owner, she left to New York City back, and he had another US DJ. I came to this club. You have to, you know, these days back in the '70s, there were turntables like Thorens. There was also the first techniques to 1200s, but they had Thorens with a belt drive system, and what I never saw before until that, because I haven't seen any mixers until then, but they had a rotary mixer, a Bozak, because you know the mixers what it was in Europe, they were all with faders, but the rotary was brand new, and I was watching there with my 15 years old above. You know, I could look down on the DJ, say, "Whoa, what he's doing there with like," and I said, "What the fuck is he doing?" You know, and so this was mixing. You know, and imagine in 1979, 1979, yeah, it's 1979. There was no newspapers for me as a kid, you know. For I didn't have a billboard or whatever, and I didn't know information about, you know, like today when you could read everything on YouTube, but there was nothing, you know. And so I asked this guy in between two records what he's doing. Say, yeah, yeah, this is called beat matching, and you have to listen to the records and the beats one that they are go sync on one bar, okay, what the fuck is he telling me? And then the funny thing is, you know, he was mixing and putting one record off, and I didn't know it was US imports for me. You know, this music was not available in Germany that much. You know, we had a once. I found out later then that there was one import store who imported these vinyls from America. But anyway, so I went home and said to my mother, "Hey, mommy, I need a credit for turntables and the mixer." I said, "Yeah, why? I want to be a DJ." Okay, then so I got the money. I bought myself. Now listen, there was a also a Technics turntable called SLB3. It was one of the early Technics turntables, also with a belt drive. And I bought a mixer, the first mixer I bought because I didn't know what to buy. I bought a mixer with faders, and there was with no headphone, you know, no pre-listening. And I had my turntables, the mixer, and I said, yeah, I have now two records, and that how can I listen to the other record while one is playing? I only could hear the one which is playing on this kind of mixer. So I said, what the fuck? This is something wrong. Then I went back to the store where I bought. I said, I have the problem. I can't listen to where. Yeah, you need to have a mixer which is upgraded, with a pre-listening function. So I bought this mixer, went home, and the first thing did was with 2 copies of Chic Good Times. I tried to mix it back and forth, and then I found out to play both at the same time, like good times, good times. You double them and phasing. I discovered phasing. Then I discovered beats per minute, and nobody told me about beats. I only knew that records had different tempo. One were slow, one were mid tempo, one were up tempo, but I don't know what the beats per minute was, nobody taught me that. So I found out with my watch, 15 seconds, counting 1, 2, 3 times 4. Then I had BPMs. Then I wrote the BPMs with my fat adding pencil on the covers, the,
Yep.
the tempo, how fast this, and then I said I have this slow beat file records, mid tempo and up tempo. So this could mix together. And then I found out with the pitch control, I can vary the tempi of the BPMs. So I had to discover everything myself, and also a slipmate. I didn't know what a slipmate was. I just watched in this club that night that they had underneath, when they put one record up, there was like something like out of cotton. And I said, what the fuck is that? So I made myself, I took my old T-shirt and put the record on and cut it with the scissors around my T-shirt. So I made my own slipmate. So
That's
and then
awesome.
I practiced every day, mixing here, because to learn beat matching with disco music, which is no computer music like drum computers sequences. So the drummer plays and he plays like 110, 112, 19, 18, drum fill 118, back to 112. So disco was really heavy, hard to mix, and still these days, when I play a disco set on vinyl, when you play it on the Technics, you go wild pitching, like where, it's very difficult to mix disco music. So this was my beginning, with starting to spin records at home.
So moving forward, though, as technology advanced, and you, when did you start getting into producing tracks and making music? When did you decide to make that transition? Was that early on as well, or was that after a long
This
career
was,
as a DJ?
well, the history about that is it's almost in the started, when I had my mixing skills in a couple of months, in which I learned between 2 or 3 months I could mix. Then I discovered, I made my mixes on tape. And then I said, okay, what would be interesting is if I just put some breaks out of the records. So I had my tape deck with a pause button. I put a 1, 2, 3, 4 pause, and then put the next break from the next record, 1, 2, 3 pause off, and then record. So I made my own edits on tape. Then later I discovered, my friend showed me a reel to reel. So with a reel to reel machine, I made then edits, with cutting and cutting the tape, reel to reel editing, and I made bootlegs. I made a lot of bootlegs, and like my edits of Madonna, Michael Jackson, whatever. I made edits, and then I pressed them on vinyl, and I went to the stores in Denmark and Belgium and Netherlands, Germany. I went to France. Yeah, everywhere I sold my bootlegs, 1,000 copies, and then they were sold off. And then next month, the next bootleg. And by 1987, so I made this 5 years, and by 1987, there was a record store in Hamburg where I sold also my vinyls. He said, "Hey, Jens, Warner Music wants to have is looking for a mega mixer. It was called mega mixer uh, for a Phil Collins mega mix." I said, "Okay." Then they introduced me to Warner Music, and Warner Music gave me an address at a studio where I should go to make the edits out of "You Can't Hurry Love," "Don't Lose My Number," and "Susudio." These 3 tracks, I made the Phil Collins mega mix. So this was my first, official studio job. Before that, in 1984, I made the first remix in my life, official in the studio. I came in the studio with 24 tracks, a big mixer. Was like, what the fuck, so many knobs and everything. It was a track called Mike Marine, Dancing in the Dark, a kind of Italo disco, Euro disco track. So I made my first remix in that studio. And yeah, it was a very nice studio because there was a famous German band called Modern Talking, which was a huge name in the 80s, you know, but like Dieter Bohlen is one of the biggest German music producers. So he was in the same studio. We came after me when I finished my remix. He came into the studio and then made his first production. I can't remember now what it was, but I think it was "You're My Heart, You're My Soul." Many of the old people they will know it. So there I started, you know, 84 first remix, 87 first mega mix, and 87 then the studio guy said to me, "Hey Jens, do you want to do a production to try your own track?" I said, "Why not?" Yeah. So we started to do my first own track. We made the first German house record. It was called JMJ and Hardy Work the House Sound. So I gave myself a name JM like Jack Master. J for Jens, you know, as my first name, and so this was the first German house record, or maybe one of the first, or maybe the first, 87. So then I continued, you know, to learn everything, and it was the system called um, Notator and create a Notator program with a what was it an Atari ST 1040 computer. This was a system where I learned to program sequence music, you know, and playing in studio and all these things, you know.
So now, would you say you're more of a hardware producer or software producer now with the advancements of everything that
Yeah, of
equipment
course,
is now?
it was in the beginning. It was hardware,
Yeah,
but
I was
it's
of
changed
course.
definitely. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
so I sold all my this. The only thing I still have is Casio RZ1 drum machine
oh
and
wow,
the Roland TR606 drum machine because
606.
they were I just recently discovered them in my underground basement. I said, "Oh wow, where's these machines?" Because I thought I sold everything, but they were still there. So yeah, I had every. Imagine if you're starting, you know, very early in the 80s, you buy all these hardware stuff. You know, I had everything from Roland, Oberheim, the Moog stuff. You know, from Moog Prodigy, Moog, Mini Moog, everything. And so yeah, I sold everything during the years, and now it's like this. I don't produce anymore because for me it's no need. I just do. Sometimes I do one track, but for me it's no need because I am not a DJ who is going out to play. I'm not a fresh guy because I'm the first generation of techno DJs, and you know the kids well, they want to see the young guys, they are young idols, and you know I'm not a TikToker anymore, so but I still do. I think some cool techno stuff, you know.
Yeah, what's the longest time you've ever in using technology? I won't go back to the early analog days, but what's the longest time you've actually ever spent working in the studio on a track using, say, modern technology, like in the last, I'd say 5, 6 years, maybe.
The longest time, phew, it was maybe 6 hours.
Oh,
On
that
a track.
quick.
Normally tracks they go like 2 3 hours and then they are almost done. Then the next day 4 hours maybe. And then the next day you listen maybe and edit something. So let's say 8 hours for a track. That's very long.
Wow, that is that long for you?
Yeah, no, it's long. No, it's long for maybe long for me. But you see, it's like that. If you work with vocal recordings, then of course it takes longer because a vocal session takes an hour. You know, the singer or the girl, whatever, male or female, needs to warm up and then and all these things, and then you record, you know, the verse, the chorus, and everything. You double them, and maybe 2 hours. It's a vocal session, and then you have to cut everything. This takes time, you know. But I haven't in the last 5 years. I haven't done a vocal track, you know,
Yeah.
with recording vocals. I
And
just do. You know, the artists normally they record at home and send you the cutted files already, you know.
Yeah, and you said you haven't done a vocal track in a long time, or track with vocals in a long time. Do you ever make music completely out of your own genre that like never gets released? That you experiment and say, "I like."
No, 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 no,
Or
no.
is
And
it stage
because I'm no,
focused?
because I don't have the time for that, and I don't have the, I did this now since more than 30 years, So for me, it's like I have a full-time job with my music labels. I manage almost 60 labels. I run 25 on my
16,
own.
16 or 6D?
60, 60,
6
60,
0.
660, more like 63 or something like that.
Wow.
So and I do 20 myself, and the rest I do with label partners. I have partners, and which are I manage the label, and we are partners in the label. So that's what I do. It's my distribution thing.
And are these all different genres, or they fall? I'm
Yes,
assuming different genres, different. Because I saw
from
your
from new disco, Afro house, house, tech
yeah.
house,
I
melodic
mean,
house, techno, hard techno.
I see on your Instagram you got Studio 3000, Monkey League, TCP,
Yeah, a
Af,
lot of
and
these are quite a few.
got
I
big
do a lot of
soundscape,
Yeah,
white
yeah. I do a
line.
lot of funky house and new disco stuff as well, and Afro and tech house, because the new generation of young kids, they are into pop, Afro, Afro with melodic influences, a little bit in Ibiza, for example, or in the world. Melodic house, like these Tales of Us Anima thing, is going. And but the biggest thing for streamings is Afro house now, and it's tech house. These are the two most heard genres and the best selling genres, and which are really tough, big concurrence, and a lot of everybody. If what is the hot shit? Many people want to do this also.
Yeah, we just launched on our site two new things that we're really excited to start filling up and keeping the data going on. One of them is a music section on our site. We were talking a bit about that pre-show, about where artists that we interview come on the show. We can list their music, not to sell, but to definitely help promote and get it out there. We're not, we're just about really sharing with the world the artist music and what's going on out there. But we also launched a site page on our site with the DJ Worldwide rankings, which talks about the top basically 20,000 DJs in the world,
Ooh, wow.
and then also a top music genres table. And tech house is definitely cranking up in that notch, along with traditional house. I'm looking at the chart right now on our
Yeah,
site.
yeah.
It's a pretty comprehensive study that we put together. We update this once every year. We're looking to update that once every year. We're using our data that we pulled from 2024. But yeah,
Mm,
tech house has definitely made a niche on the scene there.
mm.
Speaking of music and releasing music and putting it out there, do you expect Beatport to have another serious competitor in the next few years? Or do you feel they're going to be able to still maintain their kind of monopoly that they got? I know a lot of artists are looking at Spotify, or they're moving away from Spotify just because of political reasons. Don't need to talk about that stuff, but they're going to things like Bandcamp, where they might have a little bit more financial gain by working with that. Do you expect Beatport to have a competitor in the next few years?
The only competitor which they have is Traxsource. Traxsource
Traxsource.
is strong, but only strong with house, and a little bit of like this soul house things. This
Mhm.
is where Traxsource is strong. So let's say like this. The DJs still buy the tracks as downloads, because some try to launch the streaming, that the DJs could stream from Beatport or whatever, use the
Mhm.
streaming thing. But as a DJ, it's still like this. For me, you're hunting for a track which you like, and you want to have it in your drive.
Crate.
You don't, yeah, in your crate, in your drive, on your hard drive, on your USB or whatever. And streaming, I haven't experienced how a Beatport or whatever a Pioneer stream is like, if you put a library inside, because I really can't talk about that kind of people. But the thing is, the download side will always be okay, there for still a couple of years, I think, until we have the complete generation change, which is only going with the streaming side. But for the artists, the Beatport thing is for electronic music, the biggest store, and there will be nothing else, because there is one. This is one. There's one, and there's a little number two. But there are many other people who tried. I was just this summer. I was at the IMS in Ibiza, and I met some guys from, I don't know where they're from. They were from. I'm not sure where they were from, but they tried to. Hey, where are you from? Yeah, we are here from. I think they were from Spain or something. I don't know. They tried to launch a new download store. I said, "Whoa! So what's new with your store?" Yeah, we are this, and we have the change. We have good prices, but the thing is, if you have Beatport, why should you go somewhere else then? Because you get the tracks there 30% less. As a DJ, if you buy a track for €2, it's not that much. And even, the now we come to the other side. The younger generation of DJs, they are many of them, they try to play their own edits, because it's these days editing is so easy. Or you go to Reddit, or you go to SoundCloud, and you find of a popular track, you find, let's say, 1,000 edits. That not that much, but I mean that you get a lot of edits from a popular track. If it's not a popular track, maybe you get one or two edits, and if it's not cool, you do your own edit, because you chop these days. Everybody knows how to use a cutting program, and you do your own version, or out of that you play your own stuff. But still, as I can say from my side, because I have many labels, and I'm pretty good in the Beatport sales. It went a little bit down for me, but I can't tell, because in Tech House, Afro House, I have not the strong labels, not yet, but because these labels are really selling, these genres are really selling good. So I think the download is still there, but it will, and the future is, I think the future will be streaming. There will be still downloads available, of course. It's extra money. I don't know. I also work with what you just mentioned. What you just mentioned. What was the other platform you just mentioned?
Uh,
Um,
Beatport, Traxsource.
no, the other one.
I mentioned
Yes, you mentioned that.
Spotify.
No, Spotify is streaming.
No,
I mean, the sale. I worked these. I forgot the name now. Um, I sell tracks there, also downloads there, and on this store, but it's not that I'm selling very much there on this. I don't know. Yeah, it's
I
I
can't.
had to.
I don't remember who I said.
Yeah,
We'll have to
so that's
replay it. We'll go back.
yeah, no, but it's this is so what I can see. And Spotify, you can say what you want. Spotify is it's in the whole bunch and the whole cake. It's the extra money. If you're not using the Spotify plays, and you have maybe, for example, if you have 1 million plays, then it's about between 2 or 3 thousand euros. Between it depends on how long it's going to be streamed. So that's why it's varies between
Yeah.
these. And then you have the label has the cake. Then you have if you have an artist 50%, of course, then you have 50%. But yeah, if you have not 50%, the majors, for example, the majors, they give you deals between 20 and 25% for the artists, because they say we have the risk we pay, where we invest here, we invest there. And then you can imagine, then if you have, for example, if you have 1,000 euros for income, and then the major gets 75%, this only then at the end 250 for you.
Yeah.
So it is like it is. It's a
And yeah, what I've seen coming out too, something I want to touch base on. I'm sure this is a topic for you of seeing the evolution of the electronic music industry and music in general. Is what are your thoughts on these companies? I'm somehow getting meta ads for them, or seeing it all over the place. That of using AI to curate playlists for DJs that can say, "Hey, I want to sound like something. I want this BPM and sound like this artist." Put together a playlist that's going to play in order, blah 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 blah, and it goes, spits it out for somebody, and then they go, "This is my playlist." Do you feel that's in a way helpful, or in a way cheating for artists?
they're both, but they're both sides.
Yeah.
It's for a consumer, it's helpful because it's was just one. Do me this, do me that. If you don't like it, you say do me another list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then it's okay because every track gets played. And but on the other hand, we have now the other. It's not about playlisting; it's about AI producing the tracks for you. This is also is already there. They have the future. This is what I discussed with some of my friends and some people say, and most of them say the future in music is also AI. There will always be like musicians, live musicians, bands, singers. They will all because some people, the teens, they want to see their star live in the concert or whatever. But for electronic music, AI is definitely the future thing.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I use AI for some back end VA or a virtual assistant work that I do, which is very helpful. But I'm not having it out there generate any content for me, or even my questions. I have to pull and research and do everything on my own. We've joked around of having an AI character maybe jump into the interview with us right here and say, "Hi, Jens, I'm talking to you today.
Yes.
As a fan question," like a Max Headroom kind
Yeah,
of thing,
yeah, it's gonna
but
be
joking
fun,
around that.
So,
But, I
right.
find it useful, say, like I use AI to, take my transcripts of this entire thing and then build my show notes and take the key talking points away and look and be able to edit that. But also, something we're looking at doing is doing AI voiceovers where I can take the whole transcript and now AI can go in and separate and say, oh, here's Jen's with his accent, and they
Mm.
can put it in your accent and then put it in my accent and
Mm.
voice over this so we can reach a wider audience with our
Why not? It's
transcriptions
gonna be
and our
cool, as
closed
long as it's
captions.
cool. As
Yeah.
long as it's cool, why
I mean,
not?
but coming from a back end from a broadcast television world where you had to take that, it took more money to close caption our show than it did to air our show on television. And this is an FCC requirement to be on broadcast television, unless you knew how to get around that, which I did. Um, but closed captioning a show for 30 minutes was in the hundreds and hundreds, sometimes the $1,500, but it was $300 for me to air the show, 1,500 to close caption. Now I can do that using AI for digital distribution, do it for my podcast, and do it in multiple languages. So now people from all over the world, they don't have to know necessarily English. They can watch it or they can read the
Yes.
transcript and
Yep.
convert our website into over 100 different languages. There's huge stuff, that advantages that I see from a production
Of course,
standpoint.
yeah.
But
Definitely.
I would never replace myself as an AI interview and have you talking to a AI
No,
character.
this is gonna be the personal note, The
Yeah.
personal note is always like this spontaneous thing,
hmm
interaction. I think I don't know if an AI can do this in maybe 50 years, like but until now, is it no, I don't want to be interviewed by a robot.
Exactly. Well, no, I mean, I talk about this. I just got the phone with a potential PR company that I'm working with, and I'm sure you've seen this over the years. We want to, one, remain organic over here. I don't know what you're going to say, and I want to be able to respond to that. Be like, oh, I was just there. Had my feet in the beach on the sand, and
Mm.
know what that's like. Going, oh, you were there when it was 115 degrees on the sand that day, and nobody had water. But the AI is not going to know that. They're not going to be
No.
able to pull that. I mean, they could try to BS it, and then you're sitting there going, you were an AI generated character. How were you there on the beach? You weren't. It doesn't work like that. So I
Mm.
love that we have this organic approach. But you get the articles submitted, and they're kind of like, here's 10 questions, you fill them out.
Mm.
Or the questions are sent in advance and they're canned responses, that you're just like, here's another one of these. I'm not
Yep.
knocking any publications or anyone out there. I just, there was an article that came out recently that talked about the death of the media coverage in the electronic music industry because of AI, because people are now writing just sound bites instead of long form stories, because people just want that quick instant. I was there, look at the pictures, look at the video. Here we go. Next.
Mm.
People aren't doing in-depth interviews like that anymore. Well, we're going to remain staying true to that for the future of the DJ sessions. And again, thank you for being here. Do you ever get fed up with making and playing music? And what do you do personally to deal with that? Or any advice you give for being in the industry for so long? do you have a good mantra, good cool down, take a break way of like, okay, I'm stepping away from the computer and the desk right now, and I'm gonna come back, or a regimen that you
The thing,
do?
yeah, but the thing is, I have to work every day, almost every day, because, when you have more than 100 releases a month, you gotta have to work, because the stuff needs to, the computer needs to be feeded. There's also pages, the upload pages, like Beatport and the iTunes, Spotify. They all need to be feeded with the material. So this takes, you have to write, you generate codes and everything. Besides the music which is made, I don't do the music, but it takes time. So I work, when I breakfast, and then I work, do some up releases. Then I go to the gym. That's my day, and then later I check my mails, and then maybe I do, if I'm in the mood, I do another couple uploads. Because it's sometimes it's really stressy to if you but you have to work always ahead. So you have to work for the next months ahead,
Yep.
and then somebody's calling you, hey Jens, I have the new track. Hey Jens, can you help me here? And what do you think of the track? Shall I add here this and that? And what do you think about the arrangement? Is the mastering? Do we have or the demos? Do you have a mastering studio where I can master the track, or is the mastering sounding good? You have to be there for sometimes, and in the evening, after, when I'm finished, I'm really, I close the computer, because it's, for me, it's enough then, because I have music. There's no day without music for me.
Yeah,
So
yep, I can relate to that. People don't see what people like us do. A lot of artists don't see what we do in the background. What goes on to make it in this business. I sometimes joke about the idea of putting a camera up in my office here and saying, let's
yes,
do a reality television show. Just so you can
yeah.
really think, I'm not just the guy who turns on a camera and just starts going, Jens, what's going on? And then boom, this is done and hits in the can, and next, rinse, wash, repeat. I'm at my desk now I get up at 6:30 and I'm on desk sitting in this chair from 7 o'clock till 5 p.m. 5 days a week, and
Yeah,
try to take my weekend breaks and work on Monday through Friday. But when you own your own business, there's, like you said, always something coming in, emails, and you don't want to
yeah.
wake up Monday morning with 300 emails in your inbox, and then you
Yes,
backlog
yeah,
and you're
yeah,
dealing with
yeah,
all
yeah,
that,
yeah.
trying to catch up. So yeah, I definitely can relate to that,
Mm,
of managing. So congratulations on 60 plus labels. That's phenomenal.
mm.
I could just imagine, the upkeep on something like that. Because we're ramping up over here and doing a lot of stuff, and yeah, you're dealing with website submissions and all that fun
And
stuff.
the
PR
thing
requests.
is, what I recently coming back to the AI thing. Always had my artwork designers, who creating the artworks for the. So it was like 2 months ago, when the art designer was not available, and I had this track coming in, and Jens, we have to put this out very fast. Said, what the fuck? And the design, it's Friday evening, the guy is until Monday is nothing to do. So I thought, okay, now I started to discover then ChatGPT for myself, for creating my artworks. So now I'm also the artwork designer as well, to on top of all the stuff which I did before. So, and if sometimes, I can really smash into the computers, because do you want this cover in this color or that color, or can I add, and then shall I convert it to you? Yes, yes, please convert. Yes, but before we convert, is it I can convert it in a special size for you? This is sometimes the AI makes me crazy, and then
Yeah.
the AI excuses. Oh, sorry that I'm not working like the way you want it, and but yeah, I said, yeah, yeah, you're making me crazy. Sometimes I type, in German, so but it is, sometimes you have to be patient, because even an AI needs time to create something. If it's not top and the first, normally it's done in the first request, but
I
sometimes it really goes like, ooh.
I literally have had to add prompts recently, and I have one. I have it's my secret prompt codes right up here for ChatGPT sitting right, so I can reference them really quickly. One of them under utility control, number 41, says, "Don't answer until I say go." you know, and I had to do that recently. It was like, it kept asking me, like you said, question after question. I said, do not ask me any more questions until you've output the file. Then let me come in. And it goes, okay. And then it does the file. I'm like, I sometimes wonder, should I get more personal with my AI, my chat GPT, or any of them and say, thank you. Like I catch myself sometimes saying, like, I don't want to say it because it'll activate my phone, but I'll say, hey, blankety blank. And can you set an alarm for this? And then I'll say, oh, thank you. And it'll go, you're welcome. And I'm like, wait a second. What am I doing here? What am I building a dialogue to build the familiarity of my language style with my ChatGPT assistant or whatever I want to call it? So they know my format and language style. Because could my ChatGPT start getting vindictive and be like, no, I don't want to do that for you. You've been mean to me today. And I'm like, oh, I'm locked out of my chat GPT because, well, I'm sorry, I'll buy you some flowers, I'll make some nice programming code for you, or something nice to take you out to a virtual dinner. Where would you like to go? Can I buy you roses? Or oh, you're nice, I'll give you everything. Because I heard about the one AI model where they went to threaten to go unplug it or disconnect it, and it started blackmailing the company, saying, I'll send out everything on you online if you disconnect me. It was some story that came out. I don't know if it's true or not, but I saw it a couple times, so I'm assuming it was something that happened with this company trying to disconnect it. And it threatened to blackmail the employees of the company. Like, we'll pull up all this and this and this on you if you try to take us out. So, I mean, some funny stuff there. But, AI, I think, is definitely a beneficial tool. I was referencing in an interview I just did with a DJ producer, longtime industry producer, DJ Sama, and I referenced this article I saw from Paul Oakenfold where he said, like you said earlier, it's good, and there's good and it's bad. But you have to, no matter what, at least embrace technology and not shy away from it to understand what it's doing or have a background. And so you aren't just left in the mix. It could be like a DJ that said, I'm going to be vinyl for the rest of my life. This digital stuff isn't ever going to do anything. Where are they now? If they didn't adapt and move forward, they're like, I'm going to be a purist. Okay, well, that's great, but here's the industry shift.
But even the vinyl DJ plays tracks which are made with new technology.
New technology, exactly. So
only if he plays old vinyl, then not. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just being technologically savvy, or at least have an idea what's going on. I take AI classes just so I can know that, but I know it's going to be something huge, just so I can have a basic understanding of it. But if you could go back, say 30 years, and knowing what you know now, go back 30 years in music history, time machine, or go 50 years forward in music future and see where things are at, which way would you go?
I would. Both things are interesting. The knowledge, what you have now, transferred into the time tunnel back to 30 years. Ooh, yeah. There are so many possibilities, But for me, because I'm always hungry for new things. For me, it would be interesting what's happening 50 years from now on. What's going on, or maybe what's going on in 500 years.
Yeah.
Where we are in 500 years, for example. The cars flying around, just not driving anymore, and
well, I thought we were supposed to have flying cars now.
Yeah, and how long could you live in 500 years? Is it like that? What Putin and Xi were speaking when they are in China and picking on the parade? No, we can extend life now, blah 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 blah. And see what they said. 70 years is young these days, So possibility there for it's gonna be maybe 150 years to live already, And how could you control the genes that you don't age? Like the skin gets like with a what's it called in English?
Elasticity.
So and no more like this here and like it's like this. Yeah. So what's gonna be in 500 years? Will we really be able, if you've no more cancer and all these things? That would be. Yeah, but we will never know. We will never know.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier about the younger DJs and the audience and the fans wanting to see the younger kids. They're in the TikToks, the Instagrams, all of that, and some of the seasoned DJs, I won't say older, but seasoned, more educated or long-term, um, long-standing people in the community are not getting necessarily booked as much because they aren't keeping up with their Instagrams or their TikToks or making them hot in that way or their shape. What measures do you take to actively promote yourself, your releases in your career? Do you work with a PR company? Are you doing this manually yourself, or
No, well, as I told you, no, I'm not taking care about this anymore that much because my main business is not the label thing. I have the young people standing now there in the front in the first row. For me, it's like just having fun. If I play gigs, I decide where I play, what I play, and and sometimes I do a video, I do a trailer, but for me, it's not necessary anymore. But if you are in the business these days, everything is so fast. The tracks are almost only, if you can say, the DJs mix only 2 minutes, and then there comes the next track. You know, uh, if I was some of the shows, depends on where I was. For example, I was this summer in the Ushuaia. When I was invited on the party because one of my artists, Block and Crown, he played on this party from Dimitri Vegas and like Mike. There was like Steve Aoki playing and Dimitri Vegas, of course, and the new guy, the new Avicii from Sweden. I forgot the name, and they played 2 minutes, the next one, and then and it was like these EDM stuff, but also in techno it was like the DJ played the tracks to 2.5 3 minutes. The tracks are short, and many people only play the edits. Yeah. And some of my artists asked me, "Hey Jens, do you think it's only necessary these days that we only release the edit, not the extended version?" I said, "Yeah, for downloads, some of the DJs they still want maybe to play the extended, but the streamers only want the edit. So it's a very very everybody's you know that yourself. It's a fast moving thing at the moment, and since a couple of years, I think it was after Corona. I think before that not, but after it was everything was starts speed up, hectic, like TikTok, like first swipe, 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 swipe. We want the next, the newest, the newest, the newest, newest. It is a generation like this at the moment. It might be changing, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be changing. But because it's the social media is there, and everybody wants more and more and more and another information. For me, personally, I don't like these TikTok things. For me, it's too much stress. It stresses me. Like bang, 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 bang. I'm not like that. When I see, you just can walk out the street, and when you see the young, everybody is like, you know, I look on my mobile. What's here and there and there and there and there, and
well,
even but if people are walking, they're coming with a mobile besides you and say, "Oh, sorry."
I'm glad you brought that up because there is a topic that's hot right now, and I know you've been witness to this being around, and I've been witness to this being nightclubbing for 36 years of my life of being in nightclubs is cell phone use at events or nightclubs. And in Ibiza, there was a club that just launched. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. You probably know this.
DC10.
Maybe it's that one, but they said no cell phones on the dance floor.
Yeah, DC10.
TC, yeah, and
Yeah,
then I've seen
you
other.
get it like you get a sticker on the
Yeah,
camera.
when I was in Berlin, I went to a club that's right around the corner from Riverside Studios, and they first time I'd ever gone in, and they put stickers on both my phones, and they were totally polite. I'm like, I didn't care. I'm not there to film. I'm old school.
Mm,
I love watching
mm,
the show. I love
yeah, yeah,
dancing. I'm not going
yeah.
to sit there, and I'm in video production, so I know it's going to look like crap. It's going to sound like crap, and I'm not going to put that out and say, "Here you go." I'm going to go back to
Mm.
the DJs and say, "Can I do a proper
Yeah,
interview
but the
with
young
you?
yeah, young
Can I
people
get a
want that.
proper video mix from you for my show?"
Mm,
But most fans don't have a live streaming DJ show that they
mm,
produce that's going to ask that, or 30 years of video production. But that's sort of becoming trend now, and people. But here's what I wanted to touch on. I just watched the video demo for the new iPhone 17. And what
mm.
they're doing now is they have dual record mode. So now you can be filming the DJ and stage or performance, but then your front camera, your front face, this is your front camera, your back facing camera towards you can record you in the same time with your reaction shots. So now you're watching the show going, Yeah.
Yeah,
It's getting you on both cameras
yeah.
now in your video.
Made for the from
I'm like,
6 to 20.
yeah. So I was like, whoa. And I was talking with another DJ just recently, and he said, it's sad, not necessarily sad, but kids that are 15 years old that are going into the clubs now, they don't know what it's like to not be without a phone, to not be there to capture it. We go to the club. I mean, the DJ was up in the corner. You didn't ever see them. The
Mhm.
people were on the floor. I mean, we were the dancers on the stage that were up there
Mm.
rocking the party and keeping things going. DJ was
Exactly.
up here in a booth with a plexiglass window, so nothing got thrown up there on the decks, and playing. And I would work my way up into the booth in some of my first nightclubs I'd go to, and people were like, "How do you get up in the DJ booth?" I'm like, "I don't know." I knocked on the door and went up there. And the DJ said, "You want to dance?" And I'm like, "Yeah, cool." And I started working. I started getting to clubs at 19 years old. They're 21 and up clubs with a fake ID and going up behind the DJ booth and standing up there. And then I start working the lights at the clubs. And people would come up and ask me, "Can you take requests?" And I'm like, they'd be like, "Go for it, dude." And we just make a fake list of playlists and, "Yes, here's your request. Thank you." And they'd leave us alone. And people thought I worked at the club as the lighting designer. And I'm 19 years old in these clubs. Now, of course, if I was over in Europe, I'd probably be in there at 16 or 17 years old doing this. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting seeing that perspective of I always focus on the music. I want to enjoy what's going on. I'm not going to try to capture it and put it, like somebody said, saw this on general quote, nobody's going to watch the fireworks show that you record on your phone.
Yes.
It's just
No.
maybe a
Because
drone show. That's
yes.
cool. But
Yeah,
nobody's going to
maybe,
watch,
but
like, you know,
there's every
no.
weekend there are hundreds of these festival videos, so
Yeah.
everything is the same, but everyone's so, oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I mean, it's
it is
not,
like it is. We have these festival moments and this mobile generation. As long as we have Facebook, not but Instagram and TikTok, this will always be a part. This will be a part of the club.
well, and I'm sure that you've seen back in the day they would have concerts and events and they'd say no professional photography, no recording devices.
Yes.
And yeah, no professional recording devices, no professional cameras. You could
Because
bring
they
in your
wanted to
little
sell, yeah,
point and
because
click.
they wanted to sell a video of the show.
Exactly. But
But
now
these
the new
days, yeah,
iPhone coming out
yeah.
has three 48 megapixel cameras. This isn't a commercial for iPhone, by the way. I'm not trying to sell any phones that know they don't endorse this. From what I saw, it was a 48 megapixel camera. I mean, 48 megapixels and recording both ways. You have to look at it from the standpoint of one, this is going from a legal standpoint. The venue doesn't give the rights to film on premise and distribute. Two, they don't have the rights to the music that they're filming, so it's a privately closed area with a privately set show. Could we start seeing these clubs base no cell phone use on those two rules alone, and or having the artists come in and say, I think somebody told me lane 8, don't quote me on this, lane 8, please don't use this against me, but
Mm,
lane 8 comes in and says no cell phone use on our show and our writers. If you see people use them, you're out. Please, I don't have a copy
mhm,
of the writer. I don't have an official statement from Lane 8 on that, but I was
mhm,
told that they kind of request that. Will we maybe start seeing that from artists saying, "Hey, I want you to be here for the music, and if I'm playing and I see cell phones in the crowd and they're not pulled, you're still going to pay me my money, but I'm stopping my set in the middle of the set till you clear the dance floor
mhm.
and to clear
But
that up." And how
but the
would that
thing,
backlash? I mean, I'm
yeah,
just
but the thing is,
hypothetically.
I tell you one other thing. Besides that cell phone, yes or no, the cell phone is only the moment of the drop. It's just the break. The break is because when the beats is running, nobody is filming normally. It's just when it comes to the magical break. When it's boom, the music, when it's come to the drop, and then it comes to boom. Everyone wants to catch the break drop moment on a cell phone, and then the phones are going down. It's always that like that. And for a concert, I don't see, it's a promotion for the artist. It's a promotion for it's a PR thing. Everything is just a PR thing. And if someone sees a video, oh, what's this video? Oh, what's this track? Oh, this track is cool. Maybe I'm gonna stream this track on Spotify. What you
Yeah,
just saw in this video on Instagram there, and have put it to my playlist
there you
and
go.
then it's everything about the PR thing.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
think it won't stop. It's just it's like that. You know
And that's
In
the
the
way it
90s, yeah,
is.
yeah, in the
Ugh.
90s we had, in techno we had, like sunglasses and this and the strange things, crazy
I mean,
costumes,
it,
and now we have mobiles.
if we had cameras back then in the clubs, what would the world have seen? Just think about that.
There are some documentaries which
Yeah,
what happened,
but
but
no, I just,
rest is
but
in
to
here.
follow up on that last note here is, I was watching a video, TikTok, Instagram, whatever the other day, and there was a girl standing at the front of the DJ booth like this, right at the front of the DJ booth,
Yeah,
and the DJ goes,
yeah, yes.
and the girl goes,
Yeah,
he's like, don't come up
I
to the
think I
front and
saw
stand
that's
in
one
front of
of
my
these
stage.
videos too. Yeah,
And
yeah,
you could see her with the person behind her that was
yeah.
texting. She's just up there texting in front of the booth, not dancing, not enjoying it. And he just goes,
Yeah.
and I was like, dang,
I would have done that maybe also.
yeah. I mean, it just shows some respect at least. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
But we could talk about that theory and labels, and I want to get you back on the show here and talk more about the label stuff as well, because 60 plus labels. Wow, that's awesome. But when you're not doing all this music stuff and you're moving to Ibiza, what are you gonna do? What do you do when you're not entertaining others or doing your business? What do you like to do to entertain yourself?
Well, I have my little dog who's entertaining me every day. I have my beautiful wife who is entertaining me. We have the thing is for if you are living on an island like the small Ibiza, it's for me it's not about the nightlife because I'm not interested in going to the clubs. I have seen, for example, I have seen the Unverse club, the new super hybrid club in Ibiza, which is gonna be, oh, this is the big thing shit. And I was there and I said, okay, this is a big room discotheque with black walls and two big bars, and a medium sound system with some nice lights, which might be go off in the night a little bit more intense. And it depends which night you're going. If you're going Mondays to Eric Price to a holographic show or to Thursdays to Anima with a wall of pictures, which you can see on YouTube as well. But this for me, this club was not doesn't kick me because I know this club from the 80s, like it was cool or privileged in the mid 90s until it closed. It was an open air club with a pool inside and everything
Wow.
with a brick, and now it's like a big room club.
Mhm.
Anyway, um, and you can see everything from that. And then for me, the Ibiza life is like, going to the nice beaches there. You have so many nice bays where you can go, nice, nice, good Spanish restaurants, a good life, nice weather mostly every day. Maybe you have this in Florida or in California as well, but it's the Mediterranean life you
It's
call it.
not bad here in Seattle right now. It
Yeah,
doesn't always rain like people
so
think it
it's a
does.
Mediterranean life, and yeah, that's why I was there. I was there the first time in 1984, and it was the year when the track came out. People from Ibiza, oh, people from Ibiza. This was my first year, and until now, it's still. And when you go there, it's a magic island. Either you like it or you hate it. But
Biggest
uh,
question for me that I need to know going there: what's your most favorite restaurant in Ibiza?
well, we are living in a place called Cayavadea. It's on the southwest side. We have a very nice spot there. It's an Italian restaurant directly at the beach called Bonsol. Very, very, very nice.
What's
If
the
you want to have some,
cuisine type? What's the
yes,
theme?
it's Italian restaurant.
Oh, Italian restaurant. Okay.
Italian, right? You have so many hot spots there where you can go. From that small to the big budget. So I write you a list.
That's awesome. No, I want to
Oh,
know because
yeah, yeah.
I mean I don't want to do the touristy stuff. I want to know, like, hang out. I'm there to do, if I go there, it'll be press, it'll be work. I want to have fun. But I
Yes.
like to take in, I commonly ask artists when they travel around the world, when they do these gigs all over, do they get time to take in the sights, the sounds, the culture when they're in these cities, and I'm a huge
I have no clue,
foodie.
but
So
maybe you see all of them everywhere because it's not that big island, because
yeah.
you can drive in 45 minutes from one end to the other end of the island,
Okay.
So you go there and you have the three big cities like Ibiza town where the harbor is. Then you have Santa Eulalia and in the north, and on the other side San Antonio is where
Okay.
the UK people are. And there you have the Pikes. Pikes was the club was famous for, well, because Freddie Mercury was there, and Wham did the video from Club Tropicana in this. Yeah,
I
really.
know that video.
Yeah. That's where
Da
this was a part.
da da
Yeah,
da da
yeah,
da
yeah.
da. I
This
just
was pretty nice. And then you have in the hills of San Antonio, you have a club called Cinco dos Ocho. That's 528, which is a completely open air location with also inside clubbing, because at 11 you have to close because there's a living area in front of the down the hills, and then at 11 the open air area is closing. But this area, I discovered that in February when the club was closed. I could drive in with my car in there, and there it holds maybe 20,000 people. It's crazy. You have 12 areas, like every there's a spot, there's a spot, and there and there and there, and then inside there's also I was there on a party, from the Pikes party. I discovered the inside because I didn't know what's inside. It's also huge, crazy, this club.
yeah, I can't wait to make it out there. I got a chance to finally. I wish I would have gone around the world a lot more in my youth and got a bearings of what it is like in other cities, other countries. Earlier in my life, I probably would have moved out of the country a long time ago. Not that I don't love my United States or love where I'm at. Well, I won't get into what's going on right now. But that
Yeah.
being said, definitely want to explore the world and more countries, more cultures. Final couple questions here. And I may have asked you this before, but I'm going to ask you once again. If Hollywood were to make a movie about your life, who would you pick as the main actor?
In my Hollywood, the main actor, maybe Sean Penn.
Sean Penn. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Early, younger Sean Penn, or would this be if
The
it's a
younger
period
one,
piece or
yeah.
older
Yeah,
Sean?
yeah, maybe the younger, the crazy one, because I was always a crazy one. But yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
nice, nice. Well, is there anything else you want to let our DJ Sessions fans know before we let you go?
Well, what I could say is stay safe and stay healthy. That's what I want to say, because one thing we can't buy in our life is health. That's the most important thing in life. So
Definitely,
take care of yourself, everybody.
definitely. I mean, obviously, I'm always on this telling people stay hydrated when you go out there. Alcohol consumption and other kinds of recreational fun is can take its toll over time, and have a good work-life balance. I know that I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I don't get my sleep and have a good work-life balance and keep myself healthy as well. It's just one of those things, and don't have to be too don't have to go overboard with it too much, but at least if you have some regimen to stay
Yeah.
in there, not over it. I think one of the three, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, one of them said everything in moderation, probably Socrates, but hopefully it's Socrates. Okay, philosophy majors out there, don't skewer me on that one. But where's the best place people could go to find out more information about you and what you got going on? Would that be your Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram is nice. I also have a TikTok, and I also have a Facebook for private one, and of also official. But you have to. It depends what age you are on. For Facebook, it's the people plus 40. Instagram is from 25 till 40, I would say. TikTok is from 1 to 20, 25.
Well, I got your
Because
Instagram up there. It's Jen Lissat
yeah, yeah,
official.
yeah,
Is that
yeah,
every single one of them is Jen Lissat
yes,
official?
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it. We're definitely going to be following up with you. I know we're going to be following up with you because I'm going to be coming to Ibiza next year and
All
hanging
right.
out. But I want to stay in touch with you and all those releases coming out and talk with some of the artists that you have on those labels as well. Jen Lissat, thank you so much for coming in. And it's coming in from Cologne right now, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Cologne right now, in the middle of Germany. No, not in the west of Germany, in the middle west. Yeah, near the
Nice.
Dutch border.
Nice. And I'm coming in from the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington. I'm Darren. That's Jen Lissat
All
for the
right.
DJ sessions. Don't forget to
Okay.
go to our website, thedjsessions.com. Find out all the past episodes. We've done 2,700 past episodes just like this one, exclusive mixes, over 700 news stories a month, our new music section, our DJ ranking music section. We have a VR nightclub and VR chat. We have a mobile app that's being updated so you can take us on the go, a site-wide radio player station coming out as well, and more at thedjsessions.com. All of our socials are there, our newsletter, sign up, free prizes, guest appearances on the show, and more at thedjsessions.com. Once again, I'm Darren. That's Jen Lissat for the
All
DJ
right.
Sessions.
Yes.
And remember, on the DJ Sessions, the music never stops.
Exactly.